Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we'll discuss week 6 of 2023. Let's get going. Well, week 6 was a very active weather week. It seems like we went from snow, a couple weeks back. Last week we had ice. This week we had rain. When I say rain, I mean we had 5 inches plus of rain. It's crazy. Yard is still a mud hole. The thing about it is the temperatures stayed pretty good though. I think it got down into like the upper 20s maybe for the lows, but that didn't really hurt the salad gardens much. So I think we'll start this week by going and taking a look at the top garden and seeing how the salad has progressed. So as I mentioned, we had a few days where we had a pretty good frost. I got down to, I believe, 27. So we went ahead and took the chance to not cover the rows to see, because I believe as long as it's going to be above 25, all the things that are in the beds now should be fine. So as you can see, the little radish plants, they're still doing good. They handled the frost just fine, as did the butter crunch and the black-seeded Simpson. I will say this though, directly after the frost, for about the first 40 minutes or so, when the frost goes away, that leaf lettuce, that black-seeded Simpson, it looks pretty sad. I was a little worried. But it seemed to work out just fine. The beets here in the middle row, they also survived. So now we know going forward, now that the days are getting longer and such, as long as it's not going to get below, say 27 or so, we're not going to worry about putting out the row covers themselves. This bed up here, this is the one that we kind of planted the lettuces a little closer. I wanted to show this one specifically because you can see right here, when we got all that rain, it came down so hard that a lot of these were laid over for a few hours before the sun got them. And I think those two right there in the middle are kind of still recovering, but we have several in the greenhouse that we'll go over that we can replace them. Going into this week, one of the things I'd like to do is go ahead and get some mustard greens put in. We have some started. I would also like to go ahead, I think, and fill up most of the beds for the spring with salad mixes and things, with the idea being we'll take all of that out, by April 1st or somewhere around there, give or take a week or so. Give the beds, 2 to 3 weeks to rest before we plant them at the end of April or early May. So let's just talk real quick about the Pallet Garden. I do think we're going to add some of our salad mixes to the Pallet Garden. There's a few beds that are still looking really good, but after this hard rain that we had, we have 2 or 3 of the beds that need to be filled. So that brought me to a good point I wanted to bring up to everybody. I would recommend by the end of February, if you're going to bring in fresh compost, try to get it in if you can by the end of February. The reason is that gives you a couple months to go ahead and let that compost settle and not be so hot when you go to plant it. It really does make a huge difference whenever you plant in compost that has had, 6-7 weeks to settle as opposed to fresh compost. So let's go ahead and step in the greenhouse now and see where we're at with it. Just wanted to go over what is actually in the greenhouse still. We have turnip greens that'll be going out. These will probably go out next weekend. I don't know, maybe another 10 days. And then of course, these were started about 5 or 6 days ago. They're doing pretty well. You can see there's already green coming up. As soon as they all get green on them, these guys will go into the ground. Over here we have zinnias that we've started, and these are marigolds. These won't be going into their permanent spots for a little while, but in the next probably 2 weeks we're going to have to transplant these into bigger containers, just so the roots and things have room. And then down here we've started alyssum. That's another thing we've heard a lot of good things about as far as a companion plant. And we have baby's breath. That's one of Leslie's favorite. There's also Cosmo. Now the idea with all of these are we're going to just try to interplant them among all of the gardens. We're also going to add them to the perimeters of our gardens. We're going to see if it cuts down on some of the labor that it takes to get rid of some of the pests. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that's the case. Yesterday, I started all of this garlic. It should be ready to go out, I would say, in about 10 days or so. We'll put it in the same place we grew garlic last year. So as I had mentioned, we had started a lot of seeds. I started 36 turnip greens, 36 mustard greens, 36 beets. We also have 36 butter crunch plants. So between those, we're hoping to fill up a lot of the beds in the top garden and a few of the beds in the pallet garden. The whole idea is just to push it as far as we can. We know several people that would eat lettuce if we have extra. I just want to see how much we can grow for how little, because we got these seeds for almost nothing from the local ranch store. You know, you pay for them by the quarter pound, and I don't know if you've ever seen a quarter pound of lettuce seeds, but it's a lot. So anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna have to hold off a little bit in growing more, because this greenhouse is gonna be full by the time those are ready to move out. And I don't have the new greenhouse put up yet. I had wanted to do it last week, but of course, you know, 5.5 inches of rain, it's a major encumbrance when it comes to that type of thing. So I'm gonna have to go through and redo the pad. I do have a tamper to get all of that stuff done. So my goal this week is going to be to move all the dirt down there and get that leveled off. And it looks like the weather's going to start cooperating. So I'm crossing my fingers that in the next week or so, we can go ahead and get the new greenhouse put up. So I think I've rambled long enough today. I appreciate everyone who stuck it out here till the end. Until next time, I hope everyone takes care of themselves. Peace.